I would like to make a few comments on the piece I will be playing today. It is entitled Lobe den Herren, Praise to the Lord, the Almighty, the King of Creation, and it is by J.S. Bach. It is part of the collection entitled Schubler Chorales. Schubler was the publisher of this collection. There were 6 choral preludes published together as a unit, and they were published pretty late in Bach's life, 1747, 3 years before his death. Now, what makes this collection special is that 5 of these 6 choral preludes are actually transcriptions from earlier cantatas that Bach had written. Actually, he had written them in the 1720s when he first moved to Leipzig. These cantatas were based on popular hymns of the day, and there was a reason for that. Bach was hoping to sell copies of his music, and we must remember that there are not that many published editions of Bach that were available in his lifetime. So what hymns do you think he might have chosen? Well, 2 of them we still sing today. The first, Wachet auf, ruft uns die Stimme, which is German for Wake Awake, for Night is Flying, the famous Advent hymn. That's probably the most famous of the collection of the 6 choral preludes by Schubler. The one I am playing today is Praise to the Lord, the Almighty, Lobe den Herren. Before we move on, I'd like to just review a couple terms so that we can keep our ideas straight. We speak of cantatas. You may wonder, what is a cantata? It's basically a vocal or choral piece, work that has several movements connected together. And at this point in music history, these cantatas are usually accompanied by instruments. If we add the word chorale to the title, chorale cantatas, we are simply saying that an existing hymn tune at the time was the basis for the work. And so the same hymn tune was used for each of the movements of the cantata. You might have heard the word transcription mentioned in my introduction. The transcription is an arrangement of a previously written composition for a different medium. So in this case, the initial piece was written for choir, solo violin, and instrumental accompaniment. And Bach went ahead and made a transcription so that it could be played entirely by the organ. The Lobe den Herren cantata was number 137, and as I said, was based on the hymn tune Praise to the Lord. Now, Bach used all 5 stanzas of the original hymn text to set his cantata. What he did is the first stanza was devoted to the first movement, the second stanza to the second movement, etc. The specific movement that I'm playing today was based on the second movement, therefore it would have been based on the text for the stanza 2. Remember I said that as a cantata, the performing forces were the alto section of the choir singing the hymn tune, a solo violinist, and an accompaniment bass line. Listen to the text of stanza 2 to get a hint as to what Bach might be trying to convey in this piece. Praise to the Lord, who o'er all things is wondrously reigning, and as on wings of an eagle, uplifting, sustaining. Have you not seen? All that is needful has been sent by his gracious ordaining. This is found in ELW 858. I would like to play a little bit of that solo violin transcription. This is played on the organ now by the right hand. Listen to that, a little sample of that. You will notice rather active line and rather wide range for the melody. And later that range gets even more extended as it really stretches your hand to play it. Now Now, that's not easy to play on the violin, but it's a lot easier on the violin than it is on the organ. And by the way, did you know that Bach was also a violinist? As those arpeggios get extended, we have a kind of image of something that could be referring to the stanza, the flapping wings of the eagle in flight. Now the next question is, what part on the organ is going to play the hymn tune melody? There are actually two choices. You can either play it with your feet in the pedal or with the left hand. Bach actually has two versions of this piece. Let me play the example using the melody in the feet. And what makes this a challenge is Bach has added ornaments and trills to that melody. Here's the first phrase of the hymn in the melody in the pedal. If you had chosen the other version, which is to play in the feet the bass line, it's also challenging, but in a different way. So typically, your feet do play the bass line, and part of that would sound like this. It has a wide-ranging melody. For today's performance, I've chosen to play the hymn tune in the pedal and the active left bass line in the left hand. Now, I'll be playing the piece in just a minute or so, and you'll notice that as this piece gets underway, if you're waiting for the hymn tune to come in, you have to wait a while, actually about 14 measures. So the opening section of this piece is something called the Ritornello, which features that solo violin melody against the left hand bass line. And we're off and running. 14 measures later, the pedal finally comes in with the melody. So this opening section is called the Ritornello, and it returns completely the same at the very end of the piece, therefore making a frame to the piece. Bach being Bach, he can't just let it go at that. He takes the fragments from the Ritornello theme and puts them all over the piece. So as a complement to the hymn tune melody in the pedal, it makes a very joyful effect. And it provides coherency by doing that. So enjoy Bach's progressive modernist arrangement of Praise to the Lord.